Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. For today's video I'm trying out a £5 foundation from Primark, and I haven't tried out any Primark foundations because I'm one of those people where if I see some makeup in Primark, usually it's already been opened and tested and I don't purchase it from there. But I did go into the new Primark in Birmingham and they had so much makeup in there and my friends were saying how good the foundation is, and I thought I'd go ahead and give it a try. So I did have quite a few foundations in there. They had ones for dewy skin, ones for oily skin, ones for normal skin, and I came across this one, and this one is supposed to be an ultimate matte foundation, and this really reminded me of the Estee Lauder foundation. As you can see, they're in pretty much the same glass bottle. The only difference is this one is a little bit shorter, and when I saw the price of this I was like, £5, this might be really good. And I think I've also seen some blog posts on this before, people comparing it to the Estee Lauder Dupe, but I haven't seen any reviews on how it goes on the skin, how full coverage it is, but it does say that it's meant to be long wear, matte finish, oil free, SPF 15, and it's supposed to be double coverage as well. So with that, it does make me feel like it's the Estee Lauder Double Wear dupe, and to be honest, this is £5. The Estee Lauder foundation is around £34. So with this foundation you only get 8 shades in the collection, so I believe that there's about 3 pale shades, there's also some in between, and there's 2 very dark shades. So the good thing about this is that they start very pale and then they go very dark. The only problem is you don't really get a lot of foundations that go in the middle, so because this is quite cheap you can probably mix the foundations, but for me I sort of found it quite hard to find my shade. I basically looked and I was like, okay, I'm going to get anything that looks like medium and anything that looks like it has a warm undertone, because the majority of them did have pink undertones and they didn't really have anything that was light medium. They either had very fair, they had medium, then they had very deep. So if you are trying to find your shade in this foundation, it might not be the easiest for you. So there aren't really any claims in this foundation. All it says is that it's long wear, matte finish, oil free, and it contains SPF 15, which I think is great, especially for summer. And if you do want me to do a comparison on these two foundations, just let me know and I'll do it in another video for you, because I really just want to test this out and see how it goes. Now with the Estee Lauder Double Wear, it doesn't break me out, and a lot of foundations do, because I do have very sensitive skin. So if you're new to my channel, my skin is very oily, it's sensitive, it's acne prone, and I do have a lot of blemishes and a lot of redness on my skin as well. So I don't have the perfect skin. I feel like I probably have the best skin to try this foundation out. I also picked up a primer, and this is the matte primer, and this is oil free, and I decided to pick this up because, as you guys know, I do have oily skin, but I do love my Makeup Forever Step 1 Mattifying Primer, but it is very expensive. It's about £20, and I wanted to see if I can get an alternative that is so much cheaper. So in the Primark one you get 42ml, which is 1.4 fluid ounces, and then in the Makeup Forever one you get 30ml or 1 fluid ounce, so you get a hell of a lot more in the Primark one. Also, all of Primark Beauty is 100% cruelty free and they don't test on animals, and you also have the little bunny on the back as well. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to zoom in, and we're going to try all these products on my skin and see how they go. So I've already moisturised my skin and I'm going to go ahead and prime. So the first primer that I'm going to take is my Makeup Forever Step 1 Mattifying Primer, and I'm just going to put this on one side of my face, and then I'm going to take my Primark one and put that on the other side of my face, and then we can sort of compare them during the day and see which side looks better and even if there is any difference. So I'm just going to put the Makeup Forever one on this side of my face. I'm going to put it on all of the areas where I get super oily during the day, and then I'm going to take my Primark one and I'm just going to do a little squirt. So this is what it looks like. The Makeup Forever one is sort of like a white formula, and this one is sort of like a clear tacky formula, so it feels quite nice actually. It just feels like the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. I wasn't really much of a fan of that one, so hopefully this is going to keep my oils at bay. Hopefully I'm going to like it as well, because like I said, the Smashbox one wasn't really a favourite of mine, so I don't really like it. So I'm just going to put this on pretty much everywhere because I feel like I've put too much on. I only put a pea-sized amount and it's gone on all of this half of my face. This side still feels a little bit tacky at the moment, but then the Makeup Forever one, it just pretty much dries out the skin where it's meant to be oily, so I feel like I really like this, but this still feels a little bit tacky. I don't know if I put too much on there, but it feels nice and smoothing, so maybe it's smoothed out my pores as well. But this didn't really have any claims on it. All it says is that it's dermatologically tested, it's oil-free mattifying skin primer, and it pretty much doesn't say anything else as well. So now I'm going to go ahead and try out the foundation. So the shade that I have is the shade Toffee. I think this might have been the 4th or 5th shade in the collection. I know that when I went into Primark they only had about 6 or 7 shades, but this one was one of the middle shades, and I also know that it hasn't been tampered with because it still has the little tab on here. So like with the Estee Lauder one, it doesn't come with a pump, but I always buy the pumps from MAC, but with this one I don't think you could buy a pump that's that small because the opening is pretty tiny. So I'm just going to go ahead and put on a little bit on my sponge, This is really thick actually. I'm not even sure if the colour's going to match me. The colour might end up being too dark. But like I said, it was quite hard to try and find my shade in this. And the foundation looks very, very thick. I mean, I didn't really manage to get a big glob out. It looks like this. So as you can see, it's not even moving on the sponge. So I'm basically just going to do one half of my face and we'll see how it covers up. So I did have quite a lot on the sponge. So I've just basically moved it around my face. What we're going to do is I'm going to blend it into one side of my face. We're going to see how the coverage goes and see if it looks any different and if it manages to cover up all of this redness and all the blemishes that I have on my skin. So the colour isn't actually looking too bad. I mean, compared to my neck, it looks pretty on point. I like the fact that it has a warm undertone because like I said, with the other foundations, they look like they had a pink undertone. But I have a feeling that I'm probably going to need more of this foundation than with the Estee Lauder one. With the Estee Lauder one, I need a tiny amount and a little goes a very long way and it covers up all my blemishes, all my redness and everything like that. And so far, this one looks like I'm probably going to need to build it up because I can still see some redness on my cheek. But like I said, the colour is pretty good. I mean, if you don't self-tan, this is probably going to be very yellow for you. But for me, it tends to work quite well. Also, there doesn't really seem to have a fragrance. It smells a little bit like sun cream. But that's probably because it has SPF 15 in it. And to be honest, if something smells like sun cream, I'm not going to worry because it just smells like skincare. And I do have the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation. And that one smells strongly like paint and I have no idea why. But I was actually expecting this one to have either a strong fragrance or it to smell like chemicals because it was only £5. So this is what my skin looks like after one layer, and I think it looks pretty nice actually. So I feel like I will probably need to build it up a little bit more because I can still see a bit of redness around here. I can also see my blemish poking out right there. But you know what? For one layer, it looks like it's done pretty well. Now it does say that it's double coverage. It doesn't say anything about it being buildable either. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and put a little bit more on the areas where I need to build it up and see how it goes. But to be honest, looking at my skin, this side looks almost flawless. It looks really good. It hasn't sunk into my pores either. It does look a little bit oily on the skin, but it sort of looks like when I put the Estee Lauder Double Wear on. Also, my chin still has a lot of redness peeking through. But comparing the sides, this side I have so much redness and a lot of blemishes, and then on this side it looks almost flawless. So I'm pretty happy with the way that it's gone. So I'm just going to see if it builds up. So I'm just going to take a little bit more foundation and just pop it on the areas where I have a little bit more redness. So I've just taken a little bit more. I'm going to pop some on my cheek here, on my chin, and then on there. So we'll see how it builds up. So this is what it looks like with one layer on my skin, and then also put a little bit more on the redness, and you know what? It builds up pretty well. I can still see a little bit of redness, but I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and do the other side and then see how it looks. But to be honest, I'm very happy with the way that it looks. As you can see, a lot of redness, a lot of blemishes on this side. This side is very evened out and it looks pretty flawless, so I'm really happy with it. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and do the other side of my face, and I'm going to come back and show you what it looks like. So this is what one layer of the foundation looks like, and honestly I really like the way that it looks. I'm shocked with the amount of coverage that I got because I wasn't expecting it to be this much. I mean, to be honest, I usually see foundations that say that they're full coverage and end up being light to medium. This is proper full coverage if you build it up. It's very easily buildable. I can't really see any redness. It went really well on my nose. It covered up my blemishes really well as well, and my skin looks so good. It actually does remind me of the Estee Lauder Double Wear foundation. So I will also be doing another video on comparing both of them because this does have a lot of properties that remind me of it. So I am liking the way that my skin looks. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of my makeup. I'm going to put on concealer, blush, everything like that, set my face, and I'm going to come back and show you what it looks like. So this is what my makeup looks like all finished, and honestly I do actually like the foundation. For £5 it looks incredible on the skin. My skin looks really nice and flawless. Now it is accentuating my pores a little bit around the sides of my nose and also a bit on my cheeks, but I didn't use a pore filling primer, and with most of my foundations I do have to use a pore filling primer anyway. So when I try this out again, I think I'm just going to go ahead and use one one of those primers as well. It looks exactly the same on both sides of my skin with both of the different primers on, and they both feel really nice. Also, all of my makeup went on amazingly afterwards as well. So my concealers, my cream bronzers, my powders, all of it just went on so easily, and it covered up pretty much all of my redness, all of my blemishes, and my skin looks really nice at the moment in daylight. Also in these lights it looks really nice. I even asked Neil what he thought of this foundation. I was like, what do you think of this £5 foundation? And even he told me that it looks pretty good, and with him giving his seal of approval, he will tell me if something looks horrible on my skin, and that just makes me think that this is probably going to be a really good foundation to try for the rest of the day. Now, I'm not holding up my hopes that it's going to last all day like my Estee Lauder Double Wear does. That usually lasts me the whole day. I don't get any redness and it doesn't come off in any places. I'm not expecting that because, like I said, this is only £5 and the Estee Lauder Double Wear one is about £30, so I'm not expecting the whole day for it to look really nice, but I'm hoping that for the next few hours it looks really good and it keeps my oils at bay. So it's nearly 11:30 in the morning. I'm going to go ahead, try this out for the rest of the day, and I'm going to come back and show you what it looks like. So it's now 9:30 in the evening, so I've had this foundation on now for 10 hours, and I didn't think I would have this foundation on for that long, and I'm at the point where I'm really tired now, so I just want to take off my makeup, and I feel like now is a great time for me to give you my final first impression. So as you can see, my skin looks really good. My makeup still looks good. The only thing is it has come off on obviously my nose and also my chin. You can still see redness peeking through, but for 10 hours of wear, this foundation has done so well. It was £5. I didn't even think that it would last this long, and my skin still looks really good. All I'd need to do is just build up some more of the foundation on my chin and also my nose. As you can see, on the sides of my nose, I do have red marks right there, but that's because I do wear glasses when I watch TV or when I'm driving. So after 10 hours, my skin looks really good. Like I said, I would just need to build up on my chin and also on my nose. But honestly, I really like the way that it looks. I don't look oily, I don't look shiny. The only parts of me that do look shiny is when my highlighter's on, but my highlighter, my concealer, my blush, my bronzer, everything has stayed on my skin and it looks so good, and I am really happy with this. Honestly, this is probably one of the best first impressions that I've ever had, and for a foundation that's so affordable, I just think it is really good. I love the fact that it's cruelty free as well, and I do like some of the shade selections that you get, because you do get some really fair ones and you also get some dark ones, but I do feel like that they're missing out on it a lot. I don't know if it's one of those where they're bringing out quite a few foundations, seeing how people react to them, and then if they do like them, to bring out a lot more shades. With only 8 shades, I feel like it's not really the best shade range, but other than that, the price is on point. I didn't get a reaction to this. I can't see any extra blemishes that have come up on my skin. It felt really light on the skin as well. It felt lighter than my Estee Lauder Double Wear, and it just looks so good on the skin. You would never even know that this was £5. I've told my mum, I've also told my sister, I've said, how do you think my foundation's going? It's a £5 Primark foundation, and they couldn't believe it because they were saying how good it looks. But so far, I'm really liking this foundation. I feel like it's done amazing for 10 hours of wear. I am going to keep trying this out. I like the colour match. I like the fact that I don't look oily as well, and it dried down to like a really nice dewy finish. The rest of my products went on really well as well. So my concealers, my powders, my bronzer all went on incredibly well, and it also builds up as well, which I noticed when I first put it on, because I did have some areas where I did have a little bit of redness and some blemishes still peeking through, and it worked out really well. So now that I know how the foundation's held up, the next thing for me to do is look at the primers. So on my right side here, I had my Makeup Forever Step 1 Mattifying Primer, and then on my left side here I had my Primark one, and honestly I can't really see much difference at all. I'm looking up close, and in all honesty, they have pretty much done exactly the same thing. I can't actually see much difference between both sides of my skin, which makes me really happy, because that means that the primer has done really well. So the fact that a £3 primer and a £20 primer look pretty much exactly the same, this makes me happy, because I won't need to purchase my Makeup Forever primer anymore. I will just need to go ahead and get the £3 Primark matte primer, which I think is so good, and I'm really shocked that it was this good, because honestly I thought it'd make me look like an oily mess, just like I thought the foundation would make me look. But the fact that I get more in here and it's way cheaper, I am so happy if this works for the rest of my foundations. So I am going to be testing this out constantly with my other foundations to see how it goes and see if they stay on a little bit more. So if this works out, £3 for a primer is an amazing deal, and I feel like my skin looks really good and I'm really happy with the way that it looks. I'm happy with the primer, I'm happy with the foundation, and for 10 hours of wear this has done really, really well. So overall I absolutely love the foundation and I definitely recommend it. I am going to be trying it out at work and seeing how it goes during the work day. I'm going to be trying this out a lot more as well because I just think it looks so good, and hopefully it won't break me out with me using this because like I said, I do have sensitive skin, but at the moment I'm loving this and I really recommend it. So if you guys have tried out this foundation, if you like it or if you don't, just comment down below to let me know, and make sure that you give this video a very big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video, guys. Bye!